So welcome everybody. I'm Cindy Cipriani, and we are thrilled that you're able to come today. How many of you are thinking about remodeling? That's why you're here, right? So let's get hands of what you're thinking of doing. So kitchen, very popular. Bathrooms, addition, basement, exterior. Okay. Good news is we do them all. We've been doing them all for 48 years. So the reason we do this is to help people because we know this is something we do every day. And for you, this may be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And there's a lot of questions, like even where you start, right, to even think about what you want to do to your home. We know that it's a large investment, and we want the investment to be thrilling and something that you look back and go, oh, I wish I would have done this sooner. So have a little presentation. I'm going to go through it. If you have questions, please ask. And we just want to make this friendly in a conversation. Our main goal here is to help answer some of the questions you may have walked in with. So I'm going to be up here.
Cindy, I'm going to just turn that music down a little bit.
Sure.
Excuse me.
Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you, Ed. Ed is one of our designers, and so he also can help answer some questions, and we'll go from there. This is one of our recent bathrooms that we remodeled in Mullica Hill, and it was a very old home. Part of it was built in the early 1800s. And so they wanted to kind of keep that old-fashioned look in a lot of ways, but they really wanted a sanctuary where they could come in and relax. It's on a beautiful farm. So our agenda tonight, we're going to talk about how do you begin to even think about your remodeling project, a 5-step process that will walk you through how everything comes together, and some latest design styles, and then some questions that can really save you a lot of costly mistakes. So, has anyone ever wondered, how do I begin planning? How do I begin this process? Has anybody remodeled before? What did you remodel?
A kitchen.
A kitchen. And you had remodeled before? No? Okay. So if you've been through it before, you have a little bit of an idea, but it looks like everybody, this is your first opportunity. Nice. So in the planning, you need some inspiration. So there's loads of pictures online. Have you all been looking at Pinterest or different websites? Have you been saving some of those ideas? Yes. What's nice about that is that it will actually start to narrow down what you like. I had a woman who told me that she wanted a cherry kitchen, but every picture she showed me was a white kitchen. And it was a little confusing to me because I was like, she's telling me she wants cherry. And she said, so we started talking about it, and she said, well, my mother told me that cherry is the best wood. And I said, oh, you want the wood to be cherry, not so much the color cherry. And she went, oh, I never thought of that. So sometimes we get ideas from other people, and it's our job to narrow that down to help you think it through, to know exactly what you like. And then a big part of any remodeling project is your budget. And how do you know what things cost? So has anybody watched any of the HGTV shows? And at the end, they tell you what they spent. Do you believe them? I see no's. Well, we actually did 2 HGTV shows. And I can tell you that what they say at the end is not what they really spent. And I'll tell you more about that later. But we've actually been through that process, so it was very interesting. And then also a checklist of your goals will help you to be organized and move through your project. The biggest decision you're going to make is how to choose the right contractor. So there's so many contractors out there, right? You're like, who do we go with? Do we go with our neighbor's guy? Do we go with somebody that somebody recommends? Do we go with a truck that drove by? Like, how do you think you should choose your contractor?
Referrals?
Referrals is a great one. Yes. We've been in business for 48 years. My husband hates when I say that because he started the company. So he's like, don't tell people that. They're going to add it up in their head. But it's very unusual in the contracting business and the remodeling side to be in business for 48 years. There are some people who have been in business 48 years, but they've had multiple businesses within that time. And they go out of business and then they start again. So this is all we've done is remodeling for all that time. And that's why we feel that it's really important to answer questions, give you as much information as you possibly can so that you avoid a costly mistake. So we're a design build firm, and what that means is that we do both. We design and we build. There's general contractors, there's handyman, there's design build. And there's differences between those. And a handyman usually does small projects, kind of jack of all trades type person. A general contractor will hire out all of the work and then just coordinate it for you. So you normally need to hire your own designer or your, someone to help you walk through the process, and then they kind of do the production. In design build, we're all one team. So we have the designer, we have all of the field staff to put everything together. So what do you think an advantage of having one team would be?
Accountability.
Accountability, yes, because what happens if there's a mistake during the project? There's going to be finger pointing, right? Well, that was your designer, or that was your architect, or that was your subcontractor. I'm not taking responsibility for that. So in design build, you avoid that because we take responsibility for everything from start to finish. And we figure out how to make that smooth and stress-free for our clients. So it's all one team under one roof with one shared vision. So we have a 5-step process. The first one is to listen. Has anybody ever had any type of contractor come out to your house to give you an estimate? So normally they show up with a clipboard and they walk in and you kind of tell them a little bit about what you want. Have you ever felt like somebody just wasn't listening to you? Okay. Yeah. So we hear that a lot. We hear like, well, they had their ideas, or they just wanted to do kind of a cookie cutter thing, and they weren't really listening. So that's our biggest step number one, is listening, because every single project we do is unique and we've never done it before. I mean, you think about that, it's kind of crazy. Every job we do is customized to that homeowner. So even if we had 3 houses in a row that were exactly the same and they were all doing their kitchens, those 3 kitchens are going to be totally different. And we're going to customize it to what that person wants. And if you look around the room, there's a lot of pictures here of after pictures, and you can see every kitchen, every bathroom is different. It's going to show your personality, your needs, functionability, and also value. The second step is design, and then we're going to refine it. We're going to define it, and I'll get into that a little bit later, and then build it. So we'll go into each one of these a little bit more. So the listening. We want to understand your vision, but I think what people are surprised about is that we can reimagine spaces in a way that you may not have thought about. And that's really the advantage of having a designer who's done this for a long time. We have fresh eyes, we walk into your house, and we see things that you may not see. We evaluate your existing space. We're a big believer in using the square footage that you have. So a lot of times people just want to add an addition, and you may not need an addition. We may be able to utilize that dining room that you use once a year, or hallways, or open up spaces of walls that all of a sudden give you so much more entertainment space. So we like to reimagine and evaluate the existing space, and then talk about what are your goals and what is your budget. As designers, we can design anything. And sometimes we could get carried away. So we don't want to present you with something that's way over the investment amount that you want to make, right? So we spend time talking about the costs that are involved and how much you want to invest, and even what's wise to invest in your house. We want you to make an investment that if you had to sell your house, people would be interested in buying it and you didn't over-invest. And also, we take measurements and photos at your first appointment. So when you call into us, we send out a designer, and they're going to do these steps with you. They're going to listen to you. They're going to take measurements and photos. They're going to walk around your space. You're going to see smoke coming out of their ears because they're already thinking. And they're going to discuss your goals and budget and next steps. Then you'll come into right here where you are, and we're going to show you 2D and 3D concepts. So we're actually going to do some design ideas for you before you've even chosen us. We do that because we want you to be comfortable that we're listening to you and that we've come up with ideas that you like. We're going to explore preliminary layouts. We align your vision with function. And what that means is we even take into consideration how you walk around your kitchen. Like I had one client who loved coffee, and they had a whole little coffee stand, but the kitchen was, or the refrigerator was over there, and the spoons were over there, and the cups were over there. And to make a cup of coffee, because I watched him do this while I was there at my first appointment, he walked around his island 5 times to make 1 cup of coffee. Okay? Didn't realize he was doing it. So I designed like a nook for him for everything that had to be involved with doing coffee. And he said, I just never realized like how inconvenient that was, because his wife would be cooking and he'd be trying to sneak past. So by listening to them, by observing them, I realized that this was very important to them to have like a coffee station. And we made this beautiful coffee station for them. Of course, he said he had to join the gym afterwards, but you know, what are you going to do? And then we created an initial investment range. So if we design something, our estimating department can actually give you a down to the penny estimate. But we know that our initial design is not going to be the final design, because we haven't chosen anything. We haven't sat down with you and picked anything out. So we give you a range. This design could be from here to here, because everything has kind of good, better, best. You know, you can have something, and you can do that on any selection. So let's say flooring. You can choose very high-end flooring. You can choose LVT flooring, which is a great product, but maybe at a little lower square footage. So we help you balance that budget by different selections. I had one woman who fell in love with this plum accent tile. It was $97 a square foot, okay? And she wanted it all the way around her bathroom. Well, that was a lot.
Yeah.
So then I had to figure out, okay, well, what else can we do that's going to help the budget and she can still get that accent that she wanted, right? And so we designed it so that she could get that, and every time she walked in that bathroom, she absolutely loved it, but that she could still afford everything else in the bathroom. So the initial investment range is just kind of us ballparking and saying, are you comfortable with this? Because we can adjust our design. A lot of people start maybe with an architect, And they tell the architect what they want, and the architect draws beautiful drawings. And then they put it out for bid. What do you think happens as far as budget goes?
Probably but
It's all over the place, right? And the architect, most of the time, doesn't do the building. And so they're really not up on current costing. And so they may throw out a number, but it doesn't represent the whole project. So in order to avoid that, we want to respect that budget and show you what you can get for that. Does that make sense? So step 2, we have those preliminary drawings. We have a program that, for your second appointment, you would have a kind of a sketch like this to show what it would be like, and then a simple 3D. It's very hard sometimes to picture what that new design is going to look like on flat paper like this, and that's why architect plans are often hard, because you don't know what you're really looking at spatially. So with this, if you saw that or this, which would make you feel more comfortable that you know what your new kitchen's gonna look like? Right, the 3D. So our program, this is gonna be very simple. As we develop the project, it'll get more and more detailed. And I'll show you a project, how it's developed, so you can see how that goes through. So after that appointment, you say, okay, I'm gonna choose my contractor. I've talked to several people. I know who I wanna work with. And then we need to define and refine, which means those site visits, we're gonna send someone out to your house from our production department and estimating department, and they're going to really look at everything. Now, has anybody watched HGTV where they're in the middle of demoing the bathroom and they say, oh, we can't move the toilet there. There's a bearing beam or something. Oh no, what are we gonna do now?
Hillary.
Thank you. You know who I'm talking about. Well, I can't stand to watch that show anymore, because you shouldn't be anywhere near demo and not know what's in your walls. So we're gonna take the time to make sure that all the technical aspects of your job are considered in the design. So we're not finding things during construction. So we're gonna fine tune the layout. We're gonna align that design with your budget considerations, finalize all your material selections. Who gets a little overwhelmed when you think about all the selections you're gonna have to make? Yeah. What type of project are you thinking of?
your kitchen,
A kitchen. And what type of project were you guys thinking of?
like this.
You guys? Yeah.
Yeah, we're trying to, we're combining 2 small bedrooms and a bathroom into a master suite.
Nice.
Would like to do some other little things.
Nice. So even with a master suite, there's a lot of things to consider and to pick out. So when you have a designer, it's really nice because we know all the products, we know what they cost, we know how to pull together textures and colors and just make a fabulous presentation for you and narrow down the choices. Has anybody ever been to Avalon Carpet and Tile?
For carpets.
Pardon me?
For the carpets.
Yes. You walk in there,
It's overwhelming.
right? There's so much. So one thing your designer does when you have a selection appointment is they go there ahead of time and they pull out some selections for you to start with. So they already have a vision in their head and they're zeroing in on your tastes from all the conversations. And so they're gonna narrow down those selections so it's not overwhelming. And that is like priceless. Normally, we can choose like countertops and backsplash and flooring and plumbing supplies all in one day. And people are like, oh, I can't imagine, right? But when you have someone guiding you to make all those choices, it's so much fun and it comes together really quickly. You don't have to make it that fast. I don't want to make it sound like, you have to jump in and do that. But I'm saying it makes the process fun and easy for you. And then the documentation, everything is documented. So you're not going to have a sheet of paper that says one kitchen. Believe me, I've seen some that do that. You're gonna have make, model, color, serial number of everything that you pick out is going to be in your final documentation. So not only you know what you're getting, but your project manager who comes to develop your project is going to know what to expect on the job site, because he hasn't gone shopping with us, right? He needs to know what box is going to show up and how he's going to install that. So all of that is in your, do we have the book?
Yeah.
All of that is in your final agreement, and you get a copy of that. So I wanted to show you an example. Okay, so here's some renderings we talked about before. It really relieves the uncertainty. If you look at these, you can say like, you know what, maybe I don't want those lights there, or maybe I do want cabinets instead of shelves. You know, now that I look at it, maybe I want something tweaked. So we can do all that before we're actually in your kitchen taking everything out. So I wanted to kind of walk you through this project. This was a house in Morristown. It was a ranch house, younger couple, and everything was original when they bought the house. They had lived there for like 10 years. These appliances didn't work anymore. She had a electric cooktop that one burner worked. I don't know how she was cooking for her family. I really don't. But it was very small, it was very cramped, and they had gone to an architect, and the architect said, we can put an addition on the house, and we can give you a bigger family room. And she said, well, I really don't want a bigger family room, I want a bigger kitchen. She said, you know, they just weren't listening to her. She wanted some place where her kids were coming in from school, they could put their book bags and their shoes, and they could do their homework while she was cooking. And this kitchen was so small that just wasn't happening. So listening to all their needs, this is their before floor layout. You can see here's their dining room, very small kitchen, especially with, that was the table they ate at all the time. They never used their dining room, but she did decide that for holidays and things, she wanted to keep the dining room. There was a very long porch, and the porch was attached to the garage. So back in the day, we used to call that a breezeway. My parents had a breezeway. Somebody before them had closed it in, so they actually had doors on either end. But it was a step down into this breezeway, and it was unconditioned. So it was too hot in the summer, it was too cold in the winter. They didn't use it. It was just all the square footage already under a roof that they did not use. And the architect that they talked to, this is the front of their house, by the way, said, we can take this bedroom and we can make a bigger living room for you. They were kind of like, what does that have to do with my kitchen? I want a bigger kitchen. So she said to me, I had this crazy idea that maybe we could use the porch in the kitchen. And I said, well, why are you calling it crazy? She said, because I had a contractor out and he told me I was crazy. He said, it's unconditioned, it's a step down, you know, the ceilings are different heights, like it just can't be done. Can't be done. I said, oh, yes, it can. So we took out the wall that was here and opened this whole thing up. Now, we had to put a beam in, and we also raised the floor because they wanted this to all be one height. So now the kitchen is really open. They were able to put in a large island that they could all sit at. There was area for the kids to come in, drop all their stuff. We actually put a desk for them to work at. And now this became a kind of quasi family room, kitchen, open concept. And she said, wow, this is all the square footage now of my kitchen, all right? This is looking down like a bird's eye view down into that floor space. and they wanted slate. They wanted tiles that look like slate, and that's why it's all these little blocks here. But I wanted her to see like just how big that area was going to be. And then we can also in our program do this where you're looking down in. And so we went and we picked out all of their fixtures, and this is the after. So you can see how open it is. This became a little area that the kids would come in and sit and do their homework. And this was the office space, so now they had a computer. We even thought about, she was very, very nervous about what her kids were accessing on the computer, and so we made it so that she could see from the kitchen what was on that screen. So we really talk about it. The other interesting thing was there was a window right here that went into a bedroom. And of course, they always had it closed because it was a bedroom. This is a brick wall. So part of that, we had to take out that brick wall. And she was very concerned about, well, how are we going to make this window look right? So we actually made it look like a hanging station. We boarded it up. We took the window out of the bedroom and drywalled it on the other side. Now that's where they hang their book bags and their backpacks. So we actually lifted their current doors so that everything was the same plane going through on the floor. And so I just wanted to show you this because it was such a great solution using the square footage that they had. And it also honored the budget that they wanted. And they didn't have to add anything to their house, but it really looked like they had. So much detail goes into these projects. And we actually are a little old-fashioned because we print out your final agreement and you get this book. Right now we're at a house in Cherry Hill that is doing their 5th project with us. So they have 4 of these books, now 5, they will have 5, all standing on their bookshelf with all the detail of everything that went into their project. So again, you're gonna have every detail, pictures, make, model, color, everything that we decided is going to be listed. So they use these, for reference. If they want to repaint their house, they have all the measurements. So, does anybody think that would be
It's helpful.
helpful? Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
We'll talk a little bit about design styles. I was just in Chicago 2 weeks ago. In our industry, there's a magazine called Qualified Remodeler, and it has a national award every year. So remodelers from across the country will submit different projects, and then a panel of judges comes and decides who's going to get gold, silver, bronze. And it's quite prestigious because it's a national award. And I was asked to be a judge, so I was out in Chicago 2 weeks ago judging, and it was really interesting to see some of the design styles that are out, and maybe some that you've seen and maybe some that you haven't considered. But things are going more warm. We went through a whole, 10 years of very stark white kitchens. So now warmth is coming back in. So maybe a shade or two off of stark white. Adding in the wood tones, especially in islands or in bookshelves, some type of accent to make it more warm and cozy. This is white oak cabinetry, is very popular right now. And mixing your metals. There for a while, everybody thought you had to have brush nickel everything, right? Well, you don't. You can mix all the different colors together and have it come, and it actually makes it warmer and more interested. Earth tones with the tops and the clays and the sands, or greens and navy blue are very popular. Having statement pieces, color drenching, have you heard of that? What is color drenching?
It's like the same shade of, same color, but in different shades.
And everything is the same color. So, you know, most of the time you have like a white trim around, well, now everything's the same color. It's color drenching. It actually makes the rooms look more cohesive and warmer. Wood timber is very, very popular. Out in Las Vegas 2 years ago, there were so many distributors of this wood timber, and it was brand new. We had just seen it. Now we're seeing it everywhere. It's really cool. I love it. And it's also flexible, so you can put it around curves. Arches are very popular. But one thing that we noticed as judges was that people were sticking arches just in random places, and it didn't really go. So they didn't win an award. So you have to know where to put them. Countertops. There's quartzite, granite, and quartz. You know, back in the day, everybody just had granite or laminate. Who had a laminate countertop? Anybody? Yeah. I had laminate forever.
They lasted forever.
They did. So then everybody started doing granite. Everything had to be granite. And then quartz and quartzite. Has anybody heard of quartzite? No? Would you like to explain a little bit between the difference of quartzite and quartz?
Absolutely. Quartzite is actually not a man-made material, even though that word quartz is in it. Quartzite is actually mined from the ground. Our quartzites in today's design and styles, gorgeous, really, really pretty. Get all the movement of that natural stone. It on the scale is on the higher end, on the per square foot basis. Very, very different from quartz, which some of you may know as a man-made material. So polymers, some ground stone, but when you're producing man-made slabs of quartz, all of those quartzes are the same slab. They've done an amazing job in, you know, things that look like Carrara marble, but are not Carrara marble. They're quartz, just made to flaked and designed to look like Carrara marble. Quartz was really, really got a lot of notoriety during COVID. It's 100% antimicrobial. It is 100% sealed surface, so no porousness at all like you have in quartzite or that you get in granite. But here, these three, man-made, granite, and quartzite from, you know, actual nature. And quartz, I will say, like the white kitchen. And if you love white kitchens and want to do a white kitchen, we're not going to discourage you. Mm-hmm. White kitchens are still beautiful. But the quartzes themselves have also started to lean toward more of that milky kind of background as opposed to the stark white. And the amount of different varieties of quartz for your project is amazing today versus just even 5 years ago.
Thank you. Sure. And another thing you can do with quartzite is you can backlight it, and the light will actually shine through the quartzite, and it's beautiful, beautiful. So some people, you can see this waterfall edge, they call this, on this island. Sometimes you can backlight it, and it actually lights up, and it looks amazing. In bathrooms, you can backlight underneath the sink area. So you can do some really neat things with it. And lighting. Lighting is a whole nother thing, because have you ever gone in a bathroom and you look and you're like, oh, do I look like that? So my hairdresser, they have this beautiful place. The lighting is horrible. I mean, every time I go there, I'm like, oh, do I look like that? Like, this is horrible. I think they want you to keep coming back to try and look better. I don't know. But there's several different types of lighting. And so we talked to you about all of those. There's ambient, natural, accent, and task. And each one has a different purpose. And you need all of them in order to have a beautiful, to really bring out all of your choices and have the best lighting, especially in bathrooms. Really, really important to have all of them. It's not talked about very often, but it's a very important design element. Spa-like atmospheres. Have you seen the spa water closets that there's now out there? It's now people are taking bathtubs and putting them inside a room that's also the shower. So this is amazing in master bathrooms. And we've done a few that are, we just did one with a copper Japanese soaking tub. It's like amazing. And then tile and flooring. This again is something that your designer would help you walk through to see which one is going to suit how you live, how you want to clean it, the ease of installation, the budget can all really be influenced a lot by by your flooring. So there's hardwood, there's vinyls, and then there's still tile. So after all your choices, then we need to build it. And that's when everything gets put in this book and you get your final numbers. We have to apply for permitting. So has anybody ever applied for permits? Yeah? Sometimes it's a little intimidating, but you don't even have to worry about it because we take that off your hands for you. Don is our permit guy, and he'll take care of that for you. So once we get your permits and we put you in our production schedule, then we start to build, and we want to build it right. So our production team is made up of all these great guys. Kevin is our production manager, and they're responsible for putting it all together for you. These people and our design people are really what make us different, because not only are they talented carpenters, but they have to live with you. Whoever you hire to be in your house is going to be living with you for several weeks or several months. And they are experts at working around your schedules, your pets, your children, and communicating with you. That's the biggest thing. You want to know, when are you going to be here? What's going to happen next? So there isn't any questions. We actually put a schedule. We print it out and we put it in your house. So you can see, right, that they're on schedule. You can see when the electrician's going to show up, when the plumber's going to show up, when the cabinets are going to go in. And those are really important, because some of those dates is when you need to be there to finalize, to make sure that things are where they should be. And the reason we say that is because even though your electric plan is completely done, in process, you may say, oh, you know what, I really want an extra outlet. I didn't think of it before, but I really, can I get an extra outlet? Of course. So we take care of all of that. They can help you through that process of saying, okay, be home on this date. We're going to go over all this electric with you, make sure the switches are where you want them, make sure that the plugs are where you want them, make sure the lights are where you want them, so that you don't come in from work and go, oh my goodness, that's there? I didn't know that was going to be there. We don't want that to happen. So communication is really important, and they're very hardworking. Like Jim has been with us for over 30 years. And so they have loads of experience. I think one time we added up their experience and it was like 500 and some years. I don't know. They have a lot of experience. And the thing I have to give them credit for is, like I said, every job we do is custom. So every time they walk in somebody's house, they're going to be doing something different, and they have to know how to do it all. And they're committed to every detail. So you get a dedicated project manager. We do the dust protection. Really, really, really important. Dust protection. My husband and I are a little bit OCD with dust protection. So we want to treat your home the way we treat our home. So everything gets covered. We have a saying, nothing of ours touches anything of yours. So dust protection is really important. My best friend lives in Florida. She just had windows done. Not by us, of course, because she's in Florida. And she said, you know, the people came in, very reputable company, but they didn't clean their shop vac. And they didn't do any dust protection. And the shop vac backed up and exploded in her kitchen. So she was cleaning for days. And she was so upset. And she's like, they didn't do dust protection the way you do dust protection. I wouldn't have this problem. So that's really important. Schedules, again, skilled craftsmen, clear communication, and quality control. So a successful remodeling project isn't just about great design. It's about having a process that protects that design. And then at the end, you get your big reveal. And like I said, people are like, why didn't we do this sooner, right? Because they don't even remember how bad what they put up with before all of this was thought through and redone. So that's my presentation. I'm sure some of you came with questions, so Ed and I would be happy to answer any questions that you have.